Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the bakery. Today, we're going to be performing the final story of the Nursery Rhyme Rumble that a Mr. J.K. Leeds suggested all the way back in the candlestick video. Since then, I feel I've grown a lot as a creator, and I'd love to really cap off this trilogy with a bang. So let's dive right in and see if I can live up to my namesake and beat Dark Souls 3 as a baker. So while I create what I imagine when I think of a baker, in hindsight, realizing I should have made Jack Baker from Resident Evil 7, let's go over the rules. As you may have suspected, this is going to be a pyromancy-only run. However, there's a catch. I can only use pyromancies that replicate the conditions of a baker's greatest appliance, an oven. In other words, I can only use the pyromancies Fire Surge, Fire Storm, Chaos Storm, Great Combustion, and Profaned Flame. Now, for something that I've allowed in all of my challenges, but I'm deciding to start putting in the rules. If worst comes to worst, we are allowed to use our fist, or in this case, I guess our pyromancy flame. This is just so we aren't locked out of killing things. Are some of these stretching our requirements a little? Yes, so what? Otherwise, we're allowed any armor and rings, yada yada, beat the game, yada yada, collect all usable pyromancies. Anyway, here's us, let's get into it. Despite being a baker myself, for real life Mankakez I mean, I've never actually been too fond of pyromancy stuff in any games, and I've never used pyromancies in any of the Souls games. I enjoy it in Elden Ring, but that's just because they merged it with the rest of the Faith magic, so I really have no idea how this run will go. Regardless, I'm excited. So as we get into Gundir's arena, you may be wondering what we're going to use to attack him, because obviously a fireball isn't part of an oven. Well, check this out. See that? That's the attack I neglected to mention in the intro, purely so I could fit this segment into the video. Anyway, that's the basic version of Great Combustion, Not So Great Combustion, which is the base skill on the pyromancy flame. So we do, in fact, have a starting attack. Oh no. Baker's punch things. I should know. Have you seen my mascot's arms? So, as of right now, we don't have a lot of focus for our attacks. Hence why I decided this is the run where I'd vocalize our rule of being allowed to use our fists. Plus, we're still hitting him with the pyromancy flame, so just imagine we're giving him a soft flame glaze. Anyway, after turning Gundir's armor into an oven, we make it to Pretty Lady Central. So, I heard you're coming back for Night Rain. All new graphics and models, yeah. Specialty animators, you better get to work quick. So here in Firelink, we grab the Silver Serpent Ring and reallocate our Estus to have more of our little blue general product sports drink before placing the Coiled Sword and traveling to the High Wall of Lothric. Now, I want to build off of my statement earlier where I said I've never used pyromancies in these games. That also means I don't know how to build them. I think their stats are mostly split between faith and intelligence, and otherwise, the higher level pyromancies I'm looking at on the wiki right now require a little more faith than intelligence. I think I actually know all I need to know now. Wonders what a little bit of research can do for you. After grabbing an Estus shard and freeing Aiden, we make our way down to the Banner Lady. Now, as I was looking at the wiki for pyromancy requirement stuff, I also found out that we don't get our first proper pyromancy until the Undead Settlement. So we just have to work with combustion until we get past Vort. As we walked up to the gate, I realized I had 2 unused Estus shards, but I figured we're already here, so might as well give it the old college try. I just want to say, I'm playing this in the middle of a Dark Souls remastered run where I'm in a heavy load right now, and having a light roll is such a breath of fresh air. Honestly, that was better than I expected to do. We just ran out of casts, so we use those 2 Estus shards and head back in. I don't know what the hell happened between those 2 Estus shards and now, but would you believe me if I told you Vort was suddenly laying the WWE smackdown on me and ended up being one of the toughest bosses of the run. I was so optimistic after that first attempt, and it's like he decided to ruin my entire mood after that. Ultimately though, it was annoying only having one heal, but it wasn't too much of an issue, and after a while of showing him what gonorrhea feels like, he decided to practice abstinence. After opening the gate and making it to the first Undead Settlement bonfire, we level up our health and focus before getting into the actual settlement. Now, after collecting Gary the Snail, we actually have a merchant to abduct here who can provide us with several of our usable pyromancies. And after finding the fire clutch ring, I see that, according to the wiki, we have to get up there somehow. I've played this game probably 40 times, and I never knew this bonfire was here. I never even knew there was an NPC here. Leave it to challenge running to show us all some new things. Anyway, Cornix gets blown and we find him in Firelink. Talking to him, we got our first couple actual pyromancies, Fire Surge and Great Combustion. So we purchased both, and you better believe I was rubbing my 400-pound greasy neckbeard hands together in excitement. I couldn't wait to use it. So with that, we challenged Tree Stickles. Wow, this is magical. A complete upgrade from what we were doing before. After making a friend and killing a Taurus demon, which obviously he's resistant to fire, so I was really glad to have Sigurd with us. We grabbed the Ring of Hook's bush before turning the Morning Wood into Reward Ash. I tried really hard to make that joke work, and I am not satisfied with it at all. After giving Ludlith the transposing kiln, we level our faith a ton, because from what I remember after looking at the wiki, I'm pretty sure we already meet the minimum intelligence required for all our pyromancies. We make it out to the Road of Sacrifices, where I proceed to look up where our next pyromancy is. Turns out, after looking it up, our next spell isn't going to be until at least Smoldering Lake, so we've got a bit of a journey ahead of us. I decide that we might as well fight Crystal Sage now, so we grab the Estus Shard near his fight, the Shard in the Swamp, the Grass Crest Shield to stack with our ring. You can't two-hand the Pyromancy Flame, so we just have to hold the shield out. Then we head on in. Boom! 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 Look at that damage! That really puts the Candlestick run to shame. Before we know it, fight's over. Easy peasy, path opened. After stun locking this poor NPC, he never stood a chance, we level up and head up to the cathedral and find the Cleansing Chapel bonfire, as well as who the ladies must have called for the bachelorette party. It's so cold. Much like I'm sure plenty of my 2% female audience is after I made that joke. Afterward, we find that Sigurd isn't here yet before proceeding to speedrun the cathedral, since there's nothing in particular that we need from here. After opening the front gate, it's Patch's word.
Well, you look reasonably sane.
Walk across the bridge? Okay. Oh, Patches, always up to some kind of tomfoolery. So now we talk to the man in the well, and after making it to Rosaria's bedroom, wink wink, we tell Patches he's forgiven and purchase Sigurd's armor, dropping it down to him so he can continue to journey on. After that, all we have left here is the deacons, so let's go take care of them. They took less damage than I was expecting. I thought it would be a one-shot, but overall it wasn't that bad. Into the swamp yet again. I know I always bring it up, so I won't this time. It sucked. We snuff out 1, 2, and 3 torchfire tower things before eliminating one of the last stray demons, quote-unquote, alive, and grabbing the keep wall bonfire to make our way to the Abyss Watchers. I don't know why that fight was difficult. Damage was good, more than enough heals and casts. Wasn't taking too much damage. Only reason I can think of is our cast speed, but even that's not that bad. Weird. It was still somehow easier than Bort, though. Regardless, an altar moves and we have a path to the Catacombs of Karthus. Being in the Catacombs means we actually have access to our next spell now. We drop down this bridge, find the Witch's Ring, which will stack quite nicely with our Great Swamp Ring. Then we run across the puddle that was once lost Izalith, making it into the Demon Ruins. After roasting some rats, we come across Quelaag's Sisters, where we get a tome that will become useful later before making it to the Old King's Antechamber and picking up the tome that we need now, giving it to Cornyx and purchasing our next pyromancy, Chaos Storm. I'm so excited to try this one out. Now we can really turn anywhere into our oven. Oh, Yol, I almost forgot. Looks like, I'm not getting my free levels. I think it's only right to test this pyromancy on an unreasonably large foe, such as Wolnir here, our not-so-willing participant. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, that was easy. Maybe that spell will come in more useful in a different situation. This game has too many bonfires, especially compared to the other two. I mean, look how close these bonfires are. Anyway, let's put this dog in our oven. Well, I mean, it was good damage, but I won't lie, guys, I'm starting to lose a little bit of the excitement I had when I collected it. Anyway, wobbly wall time. After leveling up for more health, we... Wow. That's the simplest way I can describe that damage. We reach the Church of Yorshka before sharing soup, a nap, and a lovely night with Onion Bro. Then we head to Irithyll Dungeon first because that's where our next spell is. Who'd have figured? We speedrun the upper half to get into the lower half of the dungeon, as you do. And here we make sure we first grab the key to Sigurd's cell, since Yorm is completely immune to fire. So Sigurd is quite literally going to be our only method of attack. Then we drop to this giant's feet and look what we found, Profaned Flame. I invested in a lot of faith to be able to use Profaned Flame before taking a closer look when I realized it's an intelligence requirement. Respec. Ah, there we go. So we head on down and open the shortcut before doing some squats, freeing Sigurd, finding the jailer's keyring, freeing Carla, and finally heading back to Firelink. We give her the Quelana Pyromancy Tome and purchase our final Pyromancy, Firestorm. Half the objectives completed, so from here we face the dancer. I'm feeling like having some crisped old lady. Oh god, I just wanted to eat. So, Profaned Flame is kinda hard to use. It's hard for me to tell how close we actually need to be to get the fireball casted on the boss, and sometimes the fireball will just miss. I have no idea what the blast radius looks like, but regardless, she goes down easy the second time, so we move on to Osiris. Osiris is strange. He isn't weak or resistant to fire, it's a neutral damage type for him. Yet, he moved around too quickly in second phase for a lot of our casts. Regardless, he goes down, we draw the bath for a dragon, and spend our hard-earned 120,000 souls. Here's Champion Gundyr. There's Champion Gundyr. Easy fight, super fun, 10 out of 10, would recommend. Here's the best item in the game, and off we are to Archdragon Peak. Now, as we make our way up, we don't actually have a weapon to defeat the Ancient Wyvern in the intended way, so we need to get creative. Never mind, fisting him worked. I feel like Saitama. Good thing that's allowed. Archdragon run time. Bell rung, I win. So I decided we'll take out Yorm and continue our way up to Pontiff and all that jizz. So in walks Onion Bro, aura farming as always, leaving it to us to become the ultimate distraction until he slays the old giant.
Bye bye!
So time for Pontiff. This might seem kind of boss rushy right now, but it's because I already got all of this stuff open, so I'm kind of just going through the motions. Fight was kind of tough, but that's mostly user error. I always have trouble with Pontiff, otherwise our damage output and defense were good, so he goes down faster than I was expecting. So after that, we grab the Fap Ring and walk our big ass up to the Anor Londo elevator. After bringing up the elevator, I had a revelation. The land around Anor Londo has risen and shifted an immeasurable amount. Remember how high up Anor Londo was in the first game? Looking this way is where the entrance to Anor Londo was, so not only is the stuff over there in the direction of Sens and the Duke's archives, but the land around Anor Londo itself seems to have risen to become even taller than even the actual Cathedral Hall thing. Not even to mention that the hall with the painting of Ariamis is just completely gone with no remnant of it, yet Darkmoon Tomb remains. Anyway, strange architecture and lore inconsistencies that probably don't bother anyone other than me ignored. We make it up to a Lego set I would absolutely love to have in real life. Lego, please. And find out that Great Combustion can stunlock Silver Knights. Sweet baby rays. After finding our old buddy, we make it into the building itself, just to open the doors and run straight to the boss. This is one of many areas I feel like could have been really fleshed out and explorable, especially in ways that would really honor the original game. Now, I won't lie. As we entered Gwendolyn's arena, I was getting really excited. I'm talking melted Jolly Rancher bag in the pan. I was really excited this whole time to try using Chaos Storm on Gwendolyn. Check out how that went. Oh, I mean, maybe we should give it another try. Oh, yep. Even with that big old tail of his, when we were lucky, we'd knock off 700 health. So in second phase, I ended up swapping to the Profaned Flame because it was a lot more accurate and we would always hit for almost 500 anyway, which really surprised me to learn he doesn't gain much of a fire resistance in his second phase. What a disappointment. The spell, not... well, I guess kind of Gwendolyn, too. Regardless, we're transported to Lothric Castle and only have one Lord of Cinder left. Technically two, but they're a package deal. Check out the endgame fit, guys. Is it hard or what? Anyway, we find and melt the video game adaptation of myself and teach all you people what happens when you hold on to an active firework. After running through an awfully warm welcome, we eliminate this guy for the first time in one of our Dark Souls 3 challenges. Did I have a reason? No. So up this ladder, and it's time for Dragon Slayer armor, and his neutrality toward fire damage. I've noticed that as a boss trend this run. It's good for us, but there still aren't too many fire weaknesses. Well, that was easy. Onto the Grand Archives. So sitting here, I counted how many bosses we have left. We have Mario and Luigi, Soul of Cinder, and Mr. Peak. However, that only totals 18 base game bosses, which means there's one that I'm missing, and I had to look it up. Oh no. So, Old Demon King has a 78% resistance to fire damage according to the Fextra wiki. This means I really have no idea how much damage we're gonna deal in practice. Oh, that's even worse than I thought it would be. Souls math time. So 11 casts times 7 comes out to 77 casts. 77 times 65 damage equals 5,005 damage potential. Old Demon King has 5,301 health, meaning we need a minimum of 7 flasks for 88 casts, because we also have the full focus bar before drinking a flask. With that, our total damage potential would come out to 5,720 damage. Doable, but tight. We're coming back later. I'd rather get everything else out of the way first. Let's just hope I don't forget about him. Anyway, after yet another case of too many bonfires, it's on to the Grand Archives. Speedran. First try.
Don't you dare even attempt to tell anyone something different.
After collecting an extra Estus shard, grabbing the Dragon Chaser's ashes to purchase 3 more Titanite chunks, and fully leveling our Pyromancy Flame, we head up these stairs we've seen time and time again and face the twin princes, Lothric and Lorien. This fight wasn't super hard. I did have to get back into the groove of it since it's been so long, but ultimately it was not that bad. However, it was the first fight in a decent while where we almost ran out of blues, so I guess that's an achievement on their part. So with that, we have our last Cinders of a Lord. However, I decide we'll fight Nameless King before moving into the DLCs. So, Nameless King is actually one of only a handful of bosses in the whole game that has a weakness to fire. Suffice to say, I'm not super worried about him. It's the King of the Storms that I am worried about. He's resistant to fire. Because of that, just getting to the second phase ended up being harder than second phase itself. This is about when the game pretty much told us to stop. Did I? Nope. On to second phase. Did you guys know that Nameless King's moveset is mostly a combination of his father Gwyn's and his pupil and close friend Ornstein's from the first game? Well, I guess technically, since Ornstein is Faram's student, Ornstein would actually be using the Nameless King's moveset, but Dark Souls 1 came out first. If you're an avid Souls fan, I'm sure you probably knew that, but if you aren't, there's some extra knowledge for you. Anyway, I'm glad I kept going, because look at this heat. As I said earlier, second phase was actually easier than first. Nameless King took a total of 14 attempts, 11 of those I died during first phase, and 3 of those were second phase, obviously winning on the third attempt. So only 2 base game bosses left, Final Boss and Mr. Reduce Your Damage. So let's head into the DLCs. Funny enough, this wasn't another 10-minute Ariandel run, and it's all because of this bastard. Wilhelm kept casting Vow of Silence and completely nullifying all of our attacks until it wore off. So this is what the fight looked like. Anyway, average Dark Souls shortcut, church opened, map finished on. Even with Wilhelming all over the place, the whole run only took 20 minutes. At this point, we'll do what we always do and face Champion's Gravetender first, since his wolf is weak to fire. This is easily the most cornered I've ever been in this fight. Regardless though, down goes wannabe Artorias. The fight was about as easy as it always is. Let's try this game's foot service. We see right through you, Mr. Miyazaki. Real case of the artist's poorly disguised fetish. I think Profaned Flame is the way to go with this fight. Back the next day, and after 20 attempts, man, I really was just not feeling this fight. Damage kinda sucked, 3 phases is annoying, and area of effect for our spells compared to the effect model was nothing less than misleading. I just wasn't having fun and started to get kinda burnt out on it. I just couldn't find my rhythm. So let's try Ring City instead. After placing 1, 2, 3, and 4 skulls, Firekeeper decides to show us a little shoulder for some reason, sending us to the end of time and touching a little fire for one last adventure. So after grabbing Fap Ring 3, we get into the part of this video that I was most excited to record and edit. Here you guys go. "90% resistant to all our hits, I think we are screwed. Ouch, that really hurt. Would you look for once we were burned back into the hellish flames and spires? It turns out the same every time, and now I'm tired. But we try once more this time, once more this time." Fell again into the demon prince's fire, burnt to a crisp, situation's looking dire. We're all out of blue, don't have enough juice, don't have the juice. I don't think that we can compete. The demon princes have got us beat. Oh, but let's check the math. Darn, I near had a heart attack. Just under 7,050 hit points, only in second phase. Divide by our damage already means we need a full 18 blues, full 18 blues. That means this fight is... okay, stop the music. It's impossible, okay? It's done. We're done. As you may have heard from the song, this fight is impossible. We'd need 18 blues to get through just the second phase, so we aren't doing it.
But wait,
You may be interjecting.
didn't you say at the beginning of your run you're allowed to use your fists?
Why yes, I did, you comprehensive viewer. However, our fist does about 10 damage, and the entirety of the fight has a maximum health value of 21,200 health according to Reddit. So we need to hit him 2,120 times. The kicker? All the information I gave you is before taking defenses and absorptions into account. Am I doing that? No. So looks like we aren't going to be able to complete either of the DLC. I forgot about Demon King. Soul of Cinder time. I'm so done with these last few bosses. Not fun, time sinks, and I just want to play Subnautica. So let's just finish this, shall we? Now, I won't lie. Upon entering this fight, I was instantly very disappointed and demoralized. I read online that Soul of Cinder only has a 35% resistance to fire, which is taking a third off our damage, but I wasn't too worried that the damage would be that bad. Boy, was I wrong. So I went and played Subnautica. It really is an addiction at this point. The next day, I needed to get the recording done, and I had a short I forgot to be working on because Subnautica was slowly working its way into taking over my life. So after taking a shower and thinking for a while, I decided I'd dust off the old Dark Souls grinder's cap and we set off. That fight was pretty tough, because we could almost never stagger him out of his heal. However, that's it. While we may not have been able to kill every boss, we're done. We beat the game, so I feel the best way to cap off the trilogy and this challenge is to light our oven. Meaning, we have successfully beaten Dark Souls 3 as a baker. Mostly. While we didn't kill every boss, we did beat the game and collect all our spells, so we were mostly successful. Could I have killed Frida and Demon King? Absolutely. I just really was not feeling it, and even Soul of Cinder I barely got into the rhythm for. Regardless, this challenge was so... Hold on a minute. Can you please stop the music? There. What was I saying? Oh yeah. This challenge was honestly the hardest of the three, which I really wasn't expecting. It was pretty fun though. I want to give another massive thanks to JK Leeds for suggesting this in that comment section oh so long ago, and I understand why you might not want to, but I would absolutely love to see one of your iconic triple challenge videos with these challenges. Those are some of my favorite videos and I think it would be so fun. Anyway, 10,000 subs and I'll do a Mankakez cake reveal. That's all I have for you guys. Stay determined and as always, have a fantastic day.